John, what game are we getting into this week?
One of the favorites from my youth. It's a wildly eclectic game that embraced the silly and the wild imagination of its developers, Earthworm Jim.
And I've realized that we have fairly similar tastes, and especially in a lot of these retro games, but I think this one might be one we disagree about.
It's quite possible. It's quite possible. I really, really like this game. Earthworm Jim is a game that I really find fascinating. So story's pretty basic. You're an earthworm that stumbles upon a super suit that turns you into a superpowered intergalactic hero.
As it normally happens.
Exactly.
Happens to everybody
and you also still get to use your worm head as an appendage. And you basically spend the entire game fighting off what really is the cartoony collection of enemies that serve no purpose but to entertain you while being an insanely frustrating and challenging game.
Oh, so you're saying this is not fun? Now we're in hell. And now we're in hell. I thought I was already in hell.
I will admit this game is light years hard in some areas. Oh, that was close too. It makes me laugh in a way that none of the ones we've played made me laugh. Yeah, that's just freaking awesome. This level makes no sense.
So this is like when you start dating that one girl who's like super difficult about everything, but she's got a really charming personality, and your buddy has to be like, "Hey man, that's where I am in this episode this week."
That's fine. It's more has a really good sense of humor.
Take us back in time. What was the world like?
October 1994, and the game's actually kind of got a very fascinating history to me. So the game was made by a subsidiary of a company called Playmate Toys. Playmate Toys, you probably don't know who they are.
Sounds way dirtier.
Yeah,
sounds way dirtier than it actually
owned
is.
Our youth, by the way. So Playmate Toys were the ones who made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures.
Yeah.
That's who made this. And this company also made one of the Ninja Turtles games, not the terrifyingly difficult one on Nintendo, but some like the normal ones.
the good ones.
The good ones, yeah. They decided to make their own game, and they were given what appears to be carte blanche and creative freedom. And they went ham on that because this game makes almost no sense, but it is funny. The user manual is funny. The enemies are funny. The entire concept of the game is wild and funny. That's what it was meant to be. It really, to me, was an homage to like Ren and Stimpy, Darkwing Duck, Animaniacs. These are the cartoons that were out around this same time.
A lot of the adolescent aimed content of that era was zany and silly and extreme and colorful, and everything was like bright and exploding, and like this fits squarely in that whole vibe.
Exactly. And that's again why I like it, because it brings me back to that era of my life. And that's how I got to think of it. The game itself is only 7 levels long, plus a couple of hidden ones, and they have some legendary level difficulty in some of these ones. The
Battletoads bad?
Yeah, I mean, we're probably pushing into that. This game's hard, but it also was, to its credit, a massive success. They sold over 1 million copies in its first year. I mean, it's not Zelda, but it's doing really well. And where I find the game interesting, and I think where you and I will disagree on some spots, I think we will agree, the area it got its highest level of accolades were actually from people in the industry. It was other game creators saying, wow, like the visuals in this game really are incredible. The colors that they use, the way stuff would pop out at you, they got a ton of really high regard for that and still do to this day. And others also just liked the fact that it was completely ridiculous and off the wall. And there were a lot of people who were just jealous. So like, I want to make a game that's just me making a game.
They didn't really hold back on a lot of that, like the zaniness of it. But also, I feel like there were things they were doing with elements of like the level design and stuff like that, the color palette, the characters, the cartooniness of it, that were kind of pushing the envelope for its time. Very
much so. This cast is not about that kind of stuff. We could dive in deep into the actual way they designed the game, designing it for Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo and all stuff. It's a lot of very long diatribe down that path, but let's get into the fun part of the actual game itself.
Okay, so let's up the nostalgia a little bit. What about the rest of the world? What else was going on at this time?
Let's get through the first parts quickly and then get to the part I actually care about. So first off, number one song in America is "I'll Make Love to You" by Boyz II Men. We've all heard the song.
Oh my God, that was so awkward. At 15 years old, that was so awkward.
Yeah.
So awkward.
We've all heard that song. The movie theaters were actually lit right now. You had Pulp Fiction and Stargate. Also a terrible Sylvester Stallone movie called The Specialist. It is not good. But the only thing I actually want to talk about, because it's 1994, is I'm a punk rock kid, and this is like the year for punk rock. You get Dookie, Smash, Let's Go, Stranger Than Fiction, Punk and Drublic, Buddha. All came out that year.
These are all album names, but not the bands.
Yes.
So for anybody who doesn't know the names of albums, maybe say the band names.
Green Day's biggest hit, Dookie, comes out. Offspring releases Smash, which until Macklemore was the highest grossing independent release in history. Let's Go.
I didn't know that fact.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's the highest. Macklemore did like blow the number out by like a power of 10, but whatever. Let's Go by Rancid, Stranger Than Fiction by Bad Religion, Punk and Drublic by NoFX. Buddha was actually the first album from Blink-182. They got popular.
Which one's the best out of the list, real quick? Which one's the best?
I mean, Smash and Dookie, because they sold billions of copies.
No, for you personally.
Oh, for me, Stranger Than Fiction. For me, it's Bad Religion, but that's me.
I'm gonna go Rancid. I'm going Rancid on this.
Let's Go is a great album. Stranger Than Fiction, I think might not have a miss on it. But another one, not punk rock, but similar, Weezer. So this is Weezer's debut album. Another one that this was a year that moved music, and it was also the year Kurt Cobain killed himself. You have
super tragic.
Yeah. So, but one thing, but musically, if you're into more of an indie music, this was an incredible year for indie music, because you saw, basically, sadly, the death of grunge with Kurt Cobain going away. No offense, Pearl Jam, but let's call a spade here.
I mean, the trend was kind of done by 94. Yeah. It really had kind of played itself out.
But that's right. And so incredible year of music. So you hear me getting all amped up. It's because I actually listened to every album I listed there. Probably I've listened to a song on that within the last couple weeks of every single one of those.
I was totally into the punk rock thing, but I put Weezer above all that stuff, because I was I got into the alternative rock side of it. I mean, I played in a punk ska band, so don't get me wrong, I love all of it. Yeah. But Weezer, I would say, was even more influential to me.
Oh yeah.
I also remember, going back to the movies real quick, I remember seeing Pulp Fiction in the theater at 15 years old, because the lady at the front sold us tickets and didn't card us. So we just went in. And then I remember riding home with my friends, and we were all like wide-eyed, like, what did we just watch? Because we were probably too young. But yeah, so it was a good year.
Let's get into, Tom, what do you think of Earthworm Jim?
Well, okay, so we usually do the good, bad, and the hilarious. We start with the hilarious. So let's start on a good note. You're right. These characters are extreme. They're super cartoony. They're very well animated. There's a lot of fun detail. I mean, heck, you're a worm in a special suit, on weird planets. Like, it's bonkers. It's Ren and Stimpy, absolutely. Also, flying cows, always funny. I think you can kind of summarize all of the humor in the game with, hey, there's a flying cow, and spoilers, it doesn't just fly, it does something else later in the game. So that's fun. But I mean, outside of just kind of the general hit of that stuff, I don't want to bring it down too much, but the gameplay to me is so lacking in a way that it makes it kind of gets in the way of enjoying a lot of that stuff. Oh, you have to grab it with your head. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So you don't whip your head into it, you just grab it with your head? Oh, the controls. Nope. Come on, jump. All right, there we go. I'm floating in the air. Okay. But I know your take on this is a little bit more positive than mine.
I think we both agree the game is difficult. To me, I played it for the wacky. I mean, you've got Fluffy the dog, the giant angry cats that are just jumping out of everywhere at you, the level where I have to help my purple dog by making it jump by shooting it or whipping it so it jumps over things. These are just wild. Like, who thought of this level? Using my own head as a lasso to celebrate winning a race. Even the instruction manual is quite funny, because it actually calls out one of the buttons being not part of the game and tells you to stop pressing it. that's actually in the directions. The secret dark level where you have to guess your way through the dark. It's is a pointless level, but it's just, it's clever. Other one too is the hamster. This is a time where there was a very famous urban legend involving a hamster in a tube. And what did they do? They put a hamster in a tube. I mean, I got to give them credit, guys. Like credit's due. But to me, the coup de grace is the ending, where the first level, for no reason whatsoever, you have to whip I think it's a refrigerator that falls in a piece of wood that launches a cow into space. And the very end of the game, you catch up with the super sexy princess whose actual name is Princess What's Her Name. And it was an homage by them to, I guess we rewrote a game. We have to be saving a princess. And as you get to the end of the game, the cow from the first minute of the first level falls on her and kills her.
It's as if the writing, if I could just take the writing and the world building and then tack that onto another gameplay design group. And now you've got like the perfect silly game, right?
Yeah. All right. But from there, let's talk though about what you actually thought was genuinely good about the game. What did they make that you thought was, all right, aside from the hilarious, what was actually a redeeming quality?
Yeah. And I think a lot of the good is the hilarious on this one. Sometimes we talk about these games and the hilarious is the unintended hilariousness of it. You know, like why am I fighting twins, the same two twins over and over who keeps changing their clothing color? Like we've discussed that before.
Yeah.
But this is very intentionally hilarious. It's doing humor in a way that I think works, which is hard in games. Like it's hard to do a game. An example of this would be Borderlands 4 just came out. And one of people's big complaints about Borderlands 3 is that they leaned so far into the meme humor that it just didn't hit anymore.
Hey, you want to hear a joke? I got jokes coming at the gals over here. Why did the dolphin have an existential crisis? He had no porpoise.
And so they rolled that back for Borderlands 4 and people are like, no, I like the game a lot better. It's still funny, but it's funny in a better way. It's not funny in a like, hey, look at me, I'm funny sort of way.
Yeah.
Which works a lot better. And I feel like this is kind of, you know, it's sometimes it's pushing that boundary of like, hey, look at this, isn't it funny? But for the most part, it's just like, you know, this is weird and wacky and that's great. Yeah. You know, so it's extremely creative. Their team made something that didn't exist. This was not based on a previous IP. This was not going, well, let's do our version of Ninja Turtles or Mario or Sonic or something like that. They did their own thing and they added their own features. You know, this idea that like you can whip your head, you can swing from stuff, you can shoot your gun, you have ammo. There's a lot of these other little elements that could have set up for me what would have been a better game. And I think you're right about it fitting into like the vibe of the mid 90s. It's very, very Ninja Turtles, like glowing green ooze. Or remember Surge Soda? Remember Surge?
God, it was green, right?
It was green.
It was a green. Yeah. Oh, wow.
We had on our high school campus, we had soda machines that were Surge soda machines because they funded the school or something. And so these were like all over the place. And this is what I think of when I think of like 1994. But yeah, all of that stuff is fun and it's retro, but it also, I mean, even in today's like, I don't know, crazy YouTube shorts era of just like fast and extreme stuff, it kind of fits the vibe today. I mean, that feels like this is one of those things that cycles. You know?
One thing you said that I thought was interesting, and I thought about Borderlands. The visuals of Borderlands, the visuals of a lot of these games that are kind of the most popular right now, Fortnite, those ones, are a lot of heavy popping colors.
Yeah, and a cartoon kind of aesthetic. Like even though they're 3D rendered things, they have this like kind of everything looks like it might have been drawn quality to it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if they're trying to copy off this, but you look at Earthworm Jim and it's like, oh, there it is. Now, it's quite like those games are trying to do an homage to the 90s, but that's where there's a connection there that I feel.
It's a stylistic choice. We do cartoony, bold, and these all fit into that stylistic choice, and that stylistic choice worked for Looney Tunes, and it worked for Earthworm Jim, and it worked for Ninja Turtles, and it works for Fortnite. What about you? I know that there were a lot more things on your list.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, obviously, we've covered the colors in depth, but I think for me, the two big ones were actually the mechanics. I do think that the way that Jim moved throughout it actually was pretty well done. The jumping, the shooting, the climbing, it actually felt fairly crisp and clean. Some of the animations were a little bit silly, but it felt pretty crisp and clean. Whereas like some of the other games we've played, like the act of jumping's kind of a challenge, to say the least.
Well, Mega Man is so stiff in comparison.
But even some of the other, I mean, some of the other games on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis still felt more like you had to press a button at a right time, whereas this one actually, the button combination felt more realistic.
Okay, so let me chime in there real quick, because this is in my bad list, so spoilers. I get what you're saying. In my subjective experience, I feel like it was actually tuned overly loose.
Yeah, so what I'm talking about is, so for example, if I want to, I can actually have diagonal hitting. I can jump and do things diagonal. That's not common actually up till this era. Right. So that's what I mean. It's those types of things. You're right. It still was in an infancy, especially if you played anything that's been out in the last, I don't know, 20 years. The mechanics here you're right. They are a little bit clunky. You do miss jumps. You miss things. Like
you slide off of things. I'll get into it more in that section.
But I like that. Yeah. I felt that there was something extra about the movement. I didn't feel like, because we're still talking about, we didn't have joystick controllers for another 6 years now, maybe somewhere like N64. So you're talking
like the thumbsticks rather than just a D-pad.
This is our first time. So this is a gamepad that would still have that, was using angulation, which was nice.
So PlayStation got an upgrade to that in the late 90s. I'm sure somebody's going to comment on this. This is 94, so I think it was by like 97, 98, where all of a sudden, and then the N64 had one in the middle.
Exactly.
And that was like 96.
Was N64 96? Yeah. I mean, but
97?
Let's just say by 1998, they were out, because I'm 100% that by 1990. Like I can remember in 1998 playing Madden with a joystick. The other one too that I really did love is the level design. And while I love the level designs, every level is very different. I mean, some of them are hard, don't get me wrong, but they are incredibly different levels, different mechanics. I mean, the bungee jumping snot fighting one is a wild, what the heck is this? the asteroids one where you're racing through, it's just a silly thing, but you've got consistently different level designs. The purple dog thing, I really liked that a lot, that you didn't have that Super Mario one. Again, you shouldn't, but of like each level's basically a not dead copy, but variation. It's not much. It really felt new level, new life, and it was cool.
We keep bringing up Battletoads, and that's something Battletoads did.
Yep.
But was also very hard. Like one level you're kicking things butts off of buildings, and the next level you're riding on some sort of rover scooter thing and crashing into barriers, but like it would change.
Let's get into the part where I think we're going to have the most disagreement, which is the battle.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Go for it, Tom.
So a lot of this stuff is subjective. So just putting that out there for the beginning, your subjective experience, my anybody else who's listening, like everyone's going to have their own subjective experience about this. But to me, the playability of it feels poorly tuned. It feels like another one of those things where I get where they were going and pushing the boundaries on shooting like diagonal and things like that. But the jumps are floaty. Like you kind of do this whoop thing. Oh, all right. Hitting, and then you aren't ever really 100% sure about where you're going to land. And if your feet are on something, sometimes they just kind of slip off. Like the hitboxes are weird. Sometimes half the time I'm whipping at something, but the only time the whip actually lands is if the end of the whip hits them or the part where my fist hits them. But if the middle of the whip hits them, nothing happens. Kind of frustrating. And like that is not a intentional level of difficulty. That is maybe we should have just programmed a better hitbox on the whip. That sort of thing, right?
Yeah. I'll also back you on the whip, the bird in the beginning. Like the thing is, you basically got north, south, we call it 45, 90, and they'll sit sometimes at like 60, like 60 degrees, and you can't hit them. You have to then jump that way to then come back at them. I'll admit that.
And then you jump, and then you do the whip thing, and then the whip is slow to go, and so by the time you're swinging, you're already on the way back down, and you've now missed them again, and now they're pecking your little worm head.
Exactly.
And, like, jump. All right, bird thing. So that stuff does not feel tuned. I do not feel equipped to take on the enemies. Like, oh, well, it's a good thing I can shoot diagonally because I'll hit a thing. Nope, you're still not going to hit it. So why even have it?
A lot.
You're still going to miss, right? So what you end up doing is you end up just shooting, hoping to hit the bird, and then blowing through a bunch of ammo, right? So again, that's not the best feeling. All right, whips not so good on these guys. You're supposed to shoot them with your gun. Figured that out. There's some lack in feedback, like I was talking about with the way that you were like moving, but also when fighting bosses, like the first two bosses you fight, half the time I'm hitting them, I'm whipping it, or I'm shooting it, and I'm like, am I hurting them?
Yeah.
I know I'm hitting them. The impact is hitting, but I don't know. Oh, now he's flexing. Do that. I don't know if that does anything. Contra for the NES, which came out like, I don't know, 7 years before this, had glowy little spots on the enemies like so many games do. And you know, if you're hitting that spot, you're actually damaging the enemy, even if it doesn't break. But for these guys, I think you're supposed to shoot at the first boss and that does most of the damage. But no, it doesn't seem like it, right?
You have to hit the well, are you talking about the trash can boss or the guy who burps fish at you?
Both of them. I have no idea.
I think the trash can boss you're supposed to hit. The guy who burps fish at you, you had to knock crates and have them hit him. Yeah.
Right. The crates have to hit that guy. Yeah. But the first guy, the guy before him,
but
like,
you're right. I had no idea. Am I winning? Am I losing?
Right.
There's no evidence because they don't get damaged. They just eventually die. And that's every boss in the entire game, by the way.
Right.
Except for the cats. The cats had a countdown of it. The cats only had 9 lives. But that's literally the only boss in the entire game. I'm like, oh, I'm winning now.
Yeah, it's not great. Like, you kind of want the boss to react to the hits to know or something. Give me something. So that is frustrating. But I think the real kicker for me wasn't that stuff, because you can kind of brute force your stuff through a boss and fight it, and eventually, oh, it died. I guess the thing I did worked, so now I know. Is this when he's vulnerable? I have no idea why that worked. Navigating through the levels is just unintuitive. It's very creative, and there seem to be different paths through the levels. Like, do you climb up on top of the stuff, or do you use the chain thing and climb around on like the first level and go down to the bottom area and come back up somewhere else and find a little secret zone and then go back around? Like, there's a lot to find and a lot to explore, but there's definitely a place in the second level where I just got to, and I was like, I don't know how to progress. I don't know how to move this level forward. And at this point, fighting all the enemies was not fun, and I don't want to go do that again. Yeah. So, like, I will be honest, like, most of the time we try to give these games a good playthrough. We stick around, and so far we've enjoyed them for the most part. You know, like, I played through Golden Axe twice, like all of this stuff. I got, I don't know, 18 minutes, 19 minutes into this on the second level, and I just noped out. This game sucks. I'm sorry, John. This game sucks. I'm noping out. I'm noping out of this one. I'm not torturing myself with this because I might still lose the challenge, and then I'll have to torture myself with some other game. So the only way I know what happened later is your playthrough. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
I'll admit,
and that's not a good sign for like enjoying a game.
I will admit I had an advantage in that I do have behind me the Nintendo Power for the game. So I had maps.
Yeah, I didn't have a map. Yeah, I didn't have a map. Maps. And maybe I'm just an idiot who's only played a few, I don't know, 1,000 games in my life and doesn't know how to make it through a map.
No, these ones are hard. Like, I'll be candid.
It's just not great.
Yeah, it's like this.
It doesn't telegraph where to go at all.
No, and I probably know the part in the second level where you gave up, because I had a frustration too, and I just pulled the map and I went, oh, I have to jump there and then get on top of the green crystal and run the opposite way on it.
The green crystal.
And then it goes up.
Yes. I was like, what do I even do with the green crystal?
You have to jump on the green crystal and run, and then it goes up into the sky for no reason.
Yeah, I spent 5 minutes going around and jumping on the crystal, going around jumping on the crystal, going around jumping on the crystal, and I was like, I don't even know what to do now.
I will admit I can see your opinion on this one and being probably correct. Some of the level design is wait, where am I going?
If landing on platforms, if fighting the enemies was more fun, then I would have willingly backtracked and gone, oh, cool, I get to do that other thing again, and maybe I'll look this other direction or whatever. Or if I got more feedback when I landed on the crystal, like you land on the crystal lights up and a little arrow pops up that goes like this way.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, cool, I'll run over it.
What you got in Sonic the Hedgehog. That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
It's literally, I mean, oops.
Yeah. Totally give me some feedback because otherwise I just don't know.
I'll admit some of my real complaint on the game was just how challenging it was. There's a part of the game that's called Tube Race. And Tube Race.
With a hamster in it? Hamster in the Tube Race?
The hamster was before. It's part of Tube Race, but it's a later part. There's a part of Tube Race. got bigger
and was now in this big tube.
There's touche. There's a good part of Tube Race. This is what everyone hates, referred to as the bleep level on numerous boards you go to, where I have to get in a submersible and move through a map. And I have two things working against me. One, it's made of glass, and so if it bangs enough times, it breaks. But also, I don't have enough oxygen. Here's how messed up this level is. You fill up with oxygen. There's not enough time to get from that point to the end. You have to refill at one point, and the refill is hidden. You have to go through. If you touch the walls, you break the submersible. But there's one little spot where you can get through the wall, but it doesn't look like you can. So you have to just know that, and then you go in the refill and go. It is, this was designed by someone who hated gamers, is kind of how I would describe it. And that is a knock I have on it. Your comment on the bosses is also really fair. You don't know how well you're doing. And that's actually, when we talked about Mega Man, I mean, it's still probably living rent, that dragon's still rent free in my head, candidly.
Right,
it did that much damage to me. But at least I could see how much health it had. I always knew how close I was to beating everything in that game. Even when I failed, I knew how close I was to it. This game lacks that. And I think that is...
Yeah, like when I lost to the Leaf guy in our challenge and he was down to like 2 little ticks of health, that was so much more frustrating because I was like, if I had turned and shot just a second before, I would have hit him because his shield wasn't up and I should have noticed, but I just didn't. And then I got hit, and that makes me go, oh, well, I can beat him next time because now I know what to do.
Exactly. Earthworm Jim doesn't quite have that. And what it does have, though, is really fun bosses. Where I will defend it is the chicken that looks like what they stole Robot Chicken from, candidly. You've got the slime guy. You've got the snowman. You've got the professor with the monkey brain. You have the patent attorneys who are throwing like litigation at you. You've got there's some stuff that you're like, oh, this is funny. But said lawyers, I believe, are invincible. I don't think you can kill them. Like it's like that becomes part of the game. Is this constant like, hey, and like, man, that last level has some bits in it that are just brutality. Oh, that was close too.
Well, it sounds like we both need some therapy after this. John, thank you for taking time for our telehealth call for today. Tell me why did we schedule this for today?
Well, so I'm like really struggling with my confidence as of late, and I just feel like nothing I do or I try is just gonna work out.
Well, that's terrible. Has there been any recent trauma?
Well, sort of. I tried beating this game on Super Nintendo.
Oh, really? Which one?
Earthworm Jim.
What? Why? Why would you do such a thing?
Well, I mean, I'm in my 40s now, and the game is like 32 years old. So I thought, how hard can this really be?
And how did that work out for you?
Well, it was going okay until I got to
the tube race. It was the tube race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. Why would they make that? Like, There's no reason to make a level this hard. It just you can't beat it. It's impossible. Why?
No one knows.
Tom, before we get to the verdict, quick reminder, stay till the end to see who lost the challenge, and find out what terrible game they had to play. These games are really terrible, by the way. So
they're so bad. I hope you're enjoying the suffering that we've both been through so far, because it's
brutal,
so bad. You know what? We should probably do something with the community where they can help decide things like this for us in the future, and they can be a little bit more involved.
Oh God!
I mean, can it be any worse than the ones we've played so far?
Yes, that's my fear.
Okay,
that's my fear is yes. There's stuff we don't even know existed, and it's gonna be like, oh hey, here's this game that came out on Neo Geo.
Yeah. Okay.
And like no one's ever gotten past the first 7 minutes. Cool. Yeah, like that game probably exists. But anyway, let's get to our main question. I guess it's two main questions. Did it hold up, and did it bring you back? So first off, Tom, was the game as fun as you remembered it to be?
Well, let me jump ahead to the second one. Yes, absolutely brought me back. I remembered some of this stuff from when I was a kid, and like we discussed before, the nostalgia part absolutely works on this one. Was it as fun as I remember? I think the other thing that this awoken in my memory was renting it and probably noping out a few levels in, kind of like I did this time, and never finishing it because I had Nintendo Power. I don't know if I had the one with the maps. There was no internet. I didn't have friends to ask about where to go when I was playing it. I think I probably just kind of banged my head against it for like a day and then was just, okay, I'm done. I don't think I ever beat it. I don't think I will ever beat it. And so I'm just going to have to enjoy it through your enjoyment. So not so much for me. What about you?
Yeah. So like you, it brought me back. Loved it. It was kind of fun reminder of what gaming was like back then. I'll be honest. The difficulty really just took me out. I got to a point where I decided that I'm 44 years old. I'm not going down to this thing. And I did, and I used emulator. I used every trick in the book I could to get to the end of the game. It was a grind because
even in my research, real quick, just chime in. Even in my research, it turns out that this was released on the Sega Genesis before it was ported over to the Super Nintendo. So I'll play my challenge on the Super Nintendo version so that we match. But when I played through it, I played on the Genesis version because supposedly that was the even better version of the game. Still not so good.
Yeah, I respect this game a lot. That's what I would say. What the developers did, it probably fed some of my favorite games. The creativity that they had in this, the style they had, probably fed into some of my favorite games I've ever played in my life. If I'm being honest, looking at it, I think it was a good influence. But much like, if there's music you like or art that you like, sometimes the artist who inspired what you like, you don't like. So
yeah, that's true. Separate the art from the artist, all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, now that that's settled, what are we doing next week?
Next week, we're actually getting John super excited because John hasn't played this in a very long time, and I'm going third person.
Can I refer to myself third person too?
I'm going third person because we're doing the one, the only Duke Nukem, but in 3D. Come get some.
Tom will get his chewing gum ready. And don't go anywhere. We've got a challenge coming up. But please, if you'd like to help us out and make sure that the show works out and more people get it and we keep doing it, like and subscribe, comment, tell us about your experiences with Earthworm Jim. Are we missing something? Are we right? Am I right? Is John right? Am I wrong? All of that stuff. Do all that stuff. And also, check out our other shows. John hosts the 40K Lorecast and the history of 40K, and I host the Fallout Lorecast, the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, and the Lord of the Rings Lorecast. So go look those up, and there's links in the descriptions and all of that.
All right, but we're not done yet. Let's get to our challenge, Tom.
All right, so for the challenge this week, you know how the dogs are so annoying and they look like little pig pen, like from Peanuts, and they're little dust things, and you get on the little chain above them and they grab you and they right, all that. We're going to see who can go past the dog the fastest without getting bit on the first level.
Better watch out, Tom. I was not going down. I did it in 20 seconds. So you get past the dog and not get bit. That's it. 20 seconds. It's got to be good enough, right? 20 seconds.
16 seconds. This guy, 16. Okay, the dog didn't get me. 16 seconds. All right, done. Beat that. 16 seconds. This one. You gotta play a terrible game again.
All right. What do I have to go play?
Okay, so I picked one out in order to make sure that I was ready just in case I won, and it turns out I did. Remember that TV show from the early 80s with Ernest Borgnine? What a wonderful name. And the super helicopter. Do you remember this?
I do. It wasn't a good show.
Yeah, no, it was a bad show, and I have a feeling it's an even worse game. It's one of those games we pull off of those terrible lists that we've been looking at. And of course, there's an NES game about it, because of course there's an NES game about every terrible TV show and movie ever in existence. So yeah, that's what you get to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume I'm probably not going to like this game very much. All right. Well, that's 30 minutes of my life. They're never coming back.
So do I even need to ask, how was it?
Lazy is, I think, the key word I want to use. This is a game where it wasn't that it was bad. It's just that it wasn't good. The missions are easy, but they're annoying. Yeah, that level took 1 minute. None of them take more than 2 minutes to complete. The graphics are phoned in, and the gameplay is just super stale. I know it's supposed to be a guy, but that was like a monkey, right? Right? That's how I describe it.
What was the name of the game again?
Airwolf, the game.
Oh, Airwolf. That's right. Okay, yeah.
Airwolf,
okay,
the game.
Airwolf, the game. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I can picture the show in my mind, but sometimes the name just falls out of my head.
It is funny playing it again. You have these, because they obviously do homages to the show in it. You have these moments of like, oh yeah, it was a stealth helicopter that I think was like taking on entire foreign countries' air forces. Is that I've got a helicopter and I'm taking on a foreign country's entire air force.
Right.
Because I think the helicopter had like a jetpack in it, which, by the way, I'm not an aeronautic engineer, but I'm pretty sure if you strap a rocket to a helicopter, it's not good for the rotaries and the top. Pretty sure if you put a rocket on a helicopter, it doesn't work.
Yeah, probably not. I think I played some PC game that had like a stealth helicopter that wasn't Airwolf, that was better than this.
Oh, but, I'm sure.
Did this one have any redeeming qualities? Was there anything good about it at all?
So here's the thing I want to say. It's really mindless. So if you wanted to just turn your brain off for like and play it, it would work. And I think in for a 5-minute game, I don't think we'll ever cover it, but there was a game I played back in the early 90s called 688 Attack Sub. And in 688 Attack Sub, you were a submarine and you went on one mission. And the missions were like 6-7 minutes. And then you were done. Okay. And you could turn it off and go on with your life. That's what this one is. I do this thing. They're all repetitive, but it's not hard. You do them. But what it turns into is like running on a treadmill where, each minute that goes by seems to take much longer than a minute. And we're doing this for a 30-minute challenge, and that 30 minutes felt like 2 hours. We're honestly at the point of this game where it's like running on a treadmill and you're just counting down the minutes. I'm done now. That's enough. This sucked. I mean, I was counting them down by the end because it was just so mind-numbingly boring.
Sounds like a good time. Maybe don't lose next time.
That would be ideal. I mean, eventually we'll run out of... I mean, we're getting to the point with how much worse can it get? I think I know, unfortunately. I think I know.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrapping up the Earthworm Jim conversation. What did we learn this week?
You should never launch a cow because you don't know where it's going to land.
And with that...
Recall.